Hello and welcome back to the HYPE Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Long hiatus. Apologize for that, but I guess I can say we're entering season 2 and all, even with the long hiatus and all. So I guess it was planned. I guess you can say that at least all too as well. I know I ended the season 1 with a preview of the Super Bowl and all, so I will give an analysis, a short analysis, because it was a very short matter of how that game turned out at least and all. But I did want to introduce something for the first episode of season 2 on the HYPE Bulletin at least and all is the fly pin. I know I got a glare there. Just wanted to show that out real quick, a little quick segment of the shop that we'll be starting on LikeEagleLLC.com to help fund the podcast and everything else surrounding the podcast, of course, with my extra life and all too as well, but still. A pen that I've been basically designed, concepted for like 10 years now too as well. And again, ironically, the funds have given me the ability to at least show it out at least now too as well. There will be a wristband involved and probably a podcast sticker too as well. And also, that's why I got cooking up during season 2 of the podcast and all too as well. Look onto the website, social media, things of that nature too as well. I'll have the links in the podcast description too as well and all. And that probably have that released during the late summer or early fall of this upcoming year and all too as well, trying to figure out how to package it, how I'm going to distribute it, and all the type of business linguistics and all that stuff too as well and also. But I'm very excited, even though with my tone at least, I'm very excited to show that out in the future at least and all too as well. But as I mentioned, long time since I've talked about any type of sports and all too as well. So, but first let's talk about the Super Bowl and all too as well. As you can see, we got some highlights from the Timberwolves game and all, which was pretty wild on Sunday night and all, recording on March 30th of 2025 and all too as well. But real quick about the football game, as you can see, the Eagles blew out the Chiefs 40-22 in that football game. Keep saying basketball because we got some other basketball topics to get to and all. But again, a huge win for the Eagles and all. It really wasn't close and all. Ended up going out as a Eagles hater I am and all. I was very happy to be outside the crib than inside the crib for that type of basketball game too as well and all. But it really wasn't close. As you can see, the Eagles put up 40 points and all, but I really want to give a shout out to their defense and all too as well, just based off memory and all. When you got Josh Sweat, I think he had 2-3 sacks and all. Milton Williams had himself, I think, a couple sacks and all too as well. Now of a New England Patriot and all too as well. We'll get into all that going into the summer and all. What's it called? Recapping basically the whole NFL offseason from free agency into the draft and all too as well. But still, the Philadelphia Eagles defense did not have to blitz basically the whole game and all. Basically just sent a 4-man rush and all, and then basically messed up any type of plans the Kansas City Chiefs offense had for at least the first half of the game and all. When you can look at the top over there at the first, let me get the mouse over there and all. But yeah, as you can see, the first half of the game, it was 24-0 Eagles and all too as well. So the Kansas City Chiefs offense wasn't able to do much and all too as well. Basically because of the pass rush and all. I don't think they were really prepared for all that too as well. Kelsey and Mahomes usually have their own rhythm or chemistry type of plays at least. No, they weren't able to get to them too as well and honestly, at all, I should say honestly. And then the run game wasn't able to get going. Mahomes just had no time to really throw outside the numbers too as well to get anything deep established too as well to maybe dig into the Eagles defense and all too as well. Mahomes, I think he had 2 interceptions. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions. Cooper DeJean had one. I think it was close to being a pick six. If not, it was. This is like 2 months ago now, so please mind me and all. Yeah, Cooper DeJean did have a pick six and all too as well in that game and all. So no, just a complete domination from the Eagles and all too as well. Like I've said throughout end of season 1 going into the playoffs, I never thought the Chiefs could blow out anybody too as well. And I thought that if they could win this game, it would be a close game and all too as well. If anybody was to blow, I don't remember if I said if the Eagles did win this game, they could blow them out and all too as well. But as they shown in the championship game against the Commanders and all, they have the true ability of blowing out a team. They are a true complete team, even with my Hurts nepotism and all too as well. This guy is a clutch player on the clutch situations too as well. I think he's made the playoffs every year of his career too as well. And all. So it was just a great culmination of the Eagles season and all. Saquon Barkley didn't have a great game and all, but his threat, I'm pretty sure, was enough for that Chiefs defense and all. If I don't remember correctly, maybe they had 7 in the box there too as well, if not 8 in the box to really to slow down Saquon Barkley. And Jalen Hurts, to my nepotism and to his credit at least and all, was able to make some deep throws down the field at least too as well. Big throw to what's his name there? Devontae Smith there, for a 45-yard touchdown too as well. So huge game, just a huge game all around for the Eagles and all too as well. Just to recap on my very late, Super Bowl analysis and all too as well. I will even argue I was a little pooped out from recording and all too as well. So I'll even take that L and all. But again, it's not much to talk about when we're really looking at it and all. The Eagles thoroughly dominated that game. You can give them credit; they thoroughly dominated throughout the season too as well. My questions of an older Vic Fangio, of a questionable Nick Sirianni too as well, and an okay OC and Kellen Moore at least but they defeated all those questions and all too as well. Jalen Hurts, my questions about him throwing the football at least in that game at least I still got my questions moving forward, but still in that game at least showed out big time and probably had his best game of his career in that game and winning Super Bowl MVP and all too as well and all. So it's just a complete dominating performance by the Eagles and all too as well. It wasn't much, I feel like, to have a full episode about too as well at the time. Sit there having a 30-40 minute episode on that Super Bowl when essentially it was over at the first half and all. We got more drama at the Kendrick Lamar halftime show than anything that the Chiefs were able to give you in that 2.5-3 hours worth of time at least and all. So now since it's season 1, episode 1 of season 2 at least and all, and I didn't end the season 1 with a reaction to the Super Bowl at least, and I wanted to give my congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles here on this podcast against my nepotism of Jalen Hurts and all, and many that know me know how I feel about Jalen Hurts and all, at least as an elite quarterback at least, but can't throw away the clutch play that he had throughout the playoff run for them and in that football game too as well. Honestly, I keep trying to say basketball because we got more pressing basketball news to talk about, not news, but cool things to go look forward to at least when we talk about NCAA basketball and the NBA, of course, at least. But again, just want to reiterate this reaction at least too as well, that the Eagles thoroughly dominated the Kansas City Chiefs, was nowhere close of a football game too as well, honestly. And we'll see. Like I mentioned earlier, Milton Williams, defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, just left to New England Patriots this offseason. Josh Sweat, who I thought was the MVP of the Super Bowl, at least left. I don't remember where he went to, at least mind me, but he left at least too as well. So there are some transitions to that Eagles defense at least too as well. So we'll see how they look going into the 2025 NFL season at least. I would please pause. But I would put them as a top favorite, a lead favorite, if not one of the top favorites to win the Super Bowl next year at least too as well. They will have a good form of their team back too as well. Honestly, they had some young guys that really stepped up. They're going to be, I would think, leveling up, priming up into more consistent play of what they showed last year. When we talk about Cooper DeJean, I'm sleeping on there. Quinyon Mitchell, Quinyon Mitchell. There's 2 cornerbacks there, 2 rookie cornerbacks, and the stellar play of Jalen Carter throughout the playoffs too as well. Their D tackle, D end. I feel like he can play all over the place on their line at least too as well. But they still have their young core at least defensively. They also got Barkley, Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, and a good semblance of their O-line still. So they still should be contenders. You look at the Commanders getting better too as well. I won't go too deep into the NFL offseason right now because I really want to get to basketball, and I'll save all the NFL stuff for the summer at least. But it will be interesting how they look going into next season when you anticipate the NFC and the entire NFL at least getting a little bit better at least. But that's my analysis for that trash-ass Super Bowl and all too as well, because I'm telling you, it wasn't much of a game and all too as well. I'm late with the reaction, but I'm pretty sure y'all will know. It wasn't much of a football game after the first half, at least. So that's why we'll leave football alone for the time being, at least for the first start of the season. Excuse me. At least for the first start of season 2, at least too. So we'll dig into it once the NBA season's over and all. We get into the summer and start building up anticipation for training camp and all too as well. And then we get into preseason and obviously into the NFL season into September at least. But let's transition over to the Final Four. Yeah, exactly. I know, because last year I was not excited about the NCAA March Madness tournament, at least not too as well. When your best player is Zach Edey, and he gets drafted 10 in the 2024 NBA draft and all, I got my questions and all. And then 4 out of the top five draft picks in that draft are international and all. No offense, I'm just saying if you're and Sakiti wasn't even American born and all too as well, and he got beaten by DJ Burns and all. Don't want to come too hard towards his physique, at least on, but let's just say he's no longer playing in the States in basketball, at least on too as well. So I just wasn't very thrilled about the competition last year, at least on the NCAA March Madness and all, even because I could have brought it up going into the NBA season. I'm a big, NCAA March Madness fan, at least and all. But this year, different story and all, because look at this. Look at the quality. Can I show the quality at least on the screen? I know my desktop playing with me. Look at that. We got 4 teams there with a 1 before them. So look at that quality compared to last year, at least, too, as well. But this year, it's not so surprising, although these 1 seeds are in the Final Four this year, because I just felt like top half, especially in the SEC, when we talk about, my bad, that's how fast I'm going, but talk about 15 teams in the SEC conference of basketball, SEC conference, college basketball, I'm giving credit to. You think it would be college football, but still, college basketball, they got I believe it was 14 to 15 teams that had 20 wins this year, if not 12 of them had 20, and then another 3 of them had 19 and all. Ridiculous amount of wins in that conference and all too as well. When we're shaping up and with an all SEC Final Four and all too as well. Tennessee lost against Houston today, at least, and all missed the game and all too as well. Got a little caught up. Was much of a blowout, so I'm happy I did miss it, at least and all too as well. And Duke beat Alabama last night, a very good game, at least and all too as well. But Duke was able to hold off Alabama and all too as well. Sears wasn't able to show up, unfortunately, in that game too as well. But as I'm saying, though, the SEC really took over this year, at least and all. Made me very excited going into this tournament, at least and all, with the excitement, at least and all, for me, compared to last year, at least and all, to get into it a little bit more and all. But for, looks like it's going to be Saturday, will be the Final Four games. You got Florida and Auburn. You can say Auburn's been the best team in college basketball throughout the season, at least, and you can say Florida's been the best team playing over the last 2 months or so basketball, at least, and also they'll be going to war, at least, not too as well. Obviously, both teams that played in the SEC. I am not that much of a what's it called there, of a college basketball fan to remember their scores of each game. Let me see if I can bring them up before we continue. I'm pretty sure they faced at least and all. I'm not sure. Let's see the matchups this year. Matchups. Can I get one? I do have Florida beating Auburn earlier this year and all. They probably didn't face in the SEC tournament because Auburn, I believe, did lose early in that tournament too as well. They had a stretch where they lost 3 of their last 4 games of the season, at least, one of them being in that SEC tournament, at least. But that's around the time where Florida started playing well, at least too as well. Auburn was playing great, from the start of the season to that point. That's when they started fading a little bit too as well and all that. And as you can see, they've won, 4 games to get into the Final Four, at least too as well, because it goes from 64 to 32 to 16 to 8 and now to 4 teams, at least too as well. So I guess it takes 6 wins to get the whole championship, at least too as well. But again, for the first Final Four setup, a great culmination of what the SEC has done this year and all, with this game with Auburn versus Florida, at least too as well. I'm trying to remember Florida. Yeah, I'm trying to go over their runs to this game, at least too as well. Florida has had 2 dope games on their run to the Final Four game, at least. A great one against the defending champions in UConn and Dan Hurley, who in their program, I guess they're dealing with a little bit of trouble right now too, as well. Can be threatening people over the internet or on whatever they were doing in North Carolina, apparently. So they're dealing with a little investigation right now too, as well. But an impressive win by Florida, at least. It really looked like UConn was going to win that game and all, taking their championship pedigree or morale, you can say, at least, no lack of a better term, at least, but they went against that, honestly, and with their favorite, the Florida is the favorite to win this tournament from my perspective, at least, too as well, and the fact that they were able to dig deep and win that game too as well, honestly, was huge. And then this past game against I'm sleeping on their last game. Can I get it back? Can't remember the last game they just faced against Texas Tech, I think it was it Texas Tech? Yeah, I'm trying to remember these games, at least, but yeah, they barely squeaked out a win against Texas Tech too as well. Honestly, Texas Tech had himself a big lead against them too as well. I think they were up 6, if not 8 or something like that against Florida and all. And you can give credit to Hauk and Walter Clayton Jr. for their big shots in the last 5 minutes of that game at least. So I thought we'd go into overtime, but they ended up taking over a bit where they got themselves a lead, outlasted the free throw game and all too as well, and put themselves in the Final Four at least. Now Auburn, not really sure of their run based off memory at least and all too as well. It's been I've all the one seeds I thought they wouldn't make it. I thought Auburn was set up not to make it because what I mentioned earlier, they lost 3 of the last 4 games at the end of the season. Didn't really look great after looking awesome to start the season at least and all too as well. So I had my questions about them too as well. So I will argue that I didn't watch them as strongly as the other 3 teams at least and all too as well. But the other 3 teams at least and all. There is another team I've played my close eye to at least, and I'll get to them and all. But they've had themselves a decent run in my opinion, at least impressive as a 1 seed to get here too as well, honestly. So, but it does breed up a great matchup in my opinion against Florida and Auburn and all SEC Final Four and all too as well. You can, with this game, this team can claim like kings of the SEC this year too as well. And with the year that the SEC had, it's not like a bad claim in my opinion and all too as well. So to the next game, we got Houston and Duke and all too as well. When we talk about Houston, I think they come out of the Big 12. Ooh, I don't want to misspeak and all. So let me just make sure. Real shit. Let me see. Big 12. Big 12. Okay, good guess, Ralph. I'll take that as a guess. That is definitely a guess right there. I'm not going to take credit too much for that. But big season for them, honestly, too, as well. Ooh, yeah. Houston beat Tennessee. Who did Michigan State lose to this? Auburn. Yeah, Auburn just beat Michigan State and all, too, as well. From what I saw from the score, pretty handily, at least on, too, as well. Michigan State had themselves a dope run and all, too, as well. And also, no, just another big credit to Auburn, at least. I wanted to mention Michigan State and all, too, as well. I'm very impressed with Jace Richardson, the son of Jason Richardson, who played for the Golden State Warriors 20 years back, at least, and all, too, as well. So a team that I didn't expect much from, honestly, too, as well. A lot of teams I didn't expect much, and they showed out their talent this year. Again, just to my earlier point about how trash the 24 March Madness tournament was to me, at least, on how much better, how much full of treasure. I'll give credit to somebody for giving me that word, at least, and all, for the opposite of trash, at least, and all. But dope treasure. It's going to be a dope draft this year too, as well, honestly. So that's why I'm thoroughly excited about talking about the NCAA basketball tonight, at least, and all. But Houston's the first half of the other teams that made the Final Four on the other side of the Final Four bracket, at least, and all, too, as well. I'm trying to remember their run, at least, and all. I'm not saying it wasn't easy, at least, and all. They were some tough games, at least, and all. But I felt like they dealt with the competition pretty well, honestly. I pegged. Please pause with me using that word, at least, and all. But I did have Houston winning the tournament, at least, and all, too. I've been a fan favorite of Calvin Sampson for a time being with this team, honestly, too, as well. I feel like they built themselves up for this team, and all. They kind of built to win a championship this year, too, as well, honestly. And they'll be facing the all-heralded, the almighty Duke basketball, Duke Blue Devils, excuse me, with that. But yeah, they'll be facing the Duke Blue Devils. Ooh, I shouldn't be saying that, I guess. No, I can't get it down. But still, they'll be facing them in the other half of the Final Four game too, as well. Duke, a team that I've watched. This is the other team I've watched closely, right outside of Florida, at least, and all. And they've been pretty impressive and all too, as well. I am worried in this game for them, for a team I've watched closely. I'm a fan of Cooper Flag too, as well, and all too, for that team and all. But very impressed with guys like Knipple and Proctor on their team too, as well. Honestly, they're pretty. And I've been a fan of James, number 14, Signon James. If I don't get his name right, I got it wrong. I'll admit that, but still, I've been a big fan of watching him throughout the season when I've been able to watch Duke, at least, and all too, as well. So it's not just Cooper Flag; they have themselves a legit, basketball team all around, in my opinion, and all too, as well. So with their wins, at least, and I'm trying to remember their big wins, if I'm impressed by anything that they've won on their way to this run, at least, and all. Alabama, being Alabama is a big win, at least. And I feel like Alabama kind of relied on the shot too much, so maybe they were able to get away. Duke was able to get away with that a little bit more because they were able to shoot the ish out of the ball, give Proctor and Knipple a lot of love with the way they shot the ball and all too, as well. But I'm trying to remember any other runs, at least. And let me look at the games real quick. Let me see. I'm trying to see if anything stuck out to me on their way over here. Alabama was going. Arizona was an okay win too, as well. Honestly, there was a little Caleb Love hype about it too, as well. Honestly, so, but I was hyping it up with it too, as well. But they handled the game pretty well, even though Caleb Love dropped himself 35 points at least and all too, as well. So to me, it's been an okay run. I'm not trying to diss it or anything like that too. I don't want to diss it or anything like that. I'm very impressed with the Florida run, at least. And when you beat the defending champions and all too, the way they came back against Texas Tech, who was a hot team too, as well. And they came back from a 16 14-point deficit against Arkansas and won that game and all. I'm just thoroughly impressed the way Florida has played and all. I thought it was a new team. I thought they would struggle in the March Madness and not even get to the. I thought, even though I had Auburn, neither of these one seeds I kind of saw getting to the Final Four at least. So I thought these would be the one seeds to fall based on experience at least and all too as well. But they've shown out. They've shown why Auburn's been the best throughout the season, why Florida's been the best over the last 2 months or so of the season at least. But these are the 4 teams in the Final Four at least too as well. Florida, Auburn, Houston, Duke. They'll be playing in San Antonio and all too as well. And I would have went to one of these games and all. I was in the Providence area when St. John's was facing Arkansas. We got Rick Pitino versus John Cal at least and all, but tickets cost a little bit too much and all, trying to save a little bit. And they've had games this weekend at least here in Atlanta and all. Auburn just beat whoever they just beat. Who was it? This stuff is just like sticking into my memory right now too as well. Come back to me at least and all. But yeah, they just had big games out here in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena and all. Just a little bit too, up there for the price at least and all. But still, I feel like this is how much I've been into NCAA March Madness, where I paid attention at least and all too as well. So I wanted to give it a shout out at least and all. I think these are going to be 2 dope games on Saturday at least and all. If I feel like one game is better than the other. I would say Houston Duke. If there was a blowout scenario that could happen, my guess maybe Florida Auburn at least, not because Florida's played that well. They know Auburn. It could be we see them again, know what they're going to do. We're going to easily could be that too. And on the other side too, because Auburn's played like the best team in basketball, same type of thing. We know Florida. We weren't ready for that game and come back and beat them and all. I'd be surprised if Houston blows out Duke or Duke blows out Houston. I think these are 2 evenly matched teams right here too as well. Honestly, I don't believe they've seen each other over the past couple seasons or anything like that too as well and all. I think Florida and Auburn know themselves so well there could be a slip up by one of these teams at least and all. I just think Houston Duke is too fresh where there's a good chance of it just being a great game at least. No, I still think both games are great. I'd be surprised if Florida or Auburn did blow out anybody or blow out any of these teams in my opinion at least. No, but if there was just a scenario where a blowout could happen, I would think it's more happening in the SEC side because of teams knowing each other pretty damn well. There could be a chance of them locking up at least. No, I just think someone for Houston or Duke's gonna have a bad shooting night for it to be a bad blowout at least. No, i.e. to R.G. Lewis's bad game against Arkansas for St. John's at least, where it looks like he's entering the transfer portal too as well. For the way there's more. It's probably more things throughout the season that he was dealing with, but I'm pretty sure that game was a big part of why he's probably transferring out of St. John's and probably going somewhere else and all. So there's my little shtick on NCAA at least. And I'm very excited for. I've been very excited. I've been very thrilled. It's been very thrilling to watch, I should say, this year and all. Just compared to last year at least. And I just feel like it lacked a little oomph to it at least. I'm a big fan of watching these games, going to a bar, having all these games on at the same time at least. And I'm a huge fan of that. Last year kind of lacked it for me. This year's been a little bit more fun, at least on what I didn't mind talking about at least too as well. So that's your Final Four. Big game Saturday at least. We'll see how those turn out at least. And I'll probably have Season 2, Episode 1. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping to do more episodes after this, and I'm not going 2 months away at least. We'll see how my mood is and all that type of issue at least. But still, I'm pretty sure I'll have a reaction to the weekend games at least and all. And then Final Four is usually the Monday, if not Tuesday after this Saturday at least. So it ends pretty abruptly because we got bigger things to worry about in the NBA and all. Am I going the right way? In the NBA at least too as well. Where most teams are in the last 8 games of their season and all. This is the last couple of days of March and all. So we're going into April, the month of where we commence the NBA playoffs and all in April at least and all. And most teams, like I said, most teams probably have 8 games left and all. We're probably hitting the last 16, 18 days of the season and all. I would say 14 to 16, like a couple days left of less of the season at least and all. And yeah, probably dealing with every other game and all, like I keep saying. It's with 16 days left, there's 8 games left and all. So everyone's probably playing a game every other day at least and all too as well. Maybe they're a team here and there is playing back-to-backs and all, but mostly we got things cinched up and all too as well. In certain scenarios in the going into the playoffs and also. As I like to do, let's go through the standings and have a little ish about each team at least and all. I don't think I'll stick from 11 to 15 too long, even though there is, again, a surprising team to be there at 11-15, be in the 11-15 range with the Philadelphia 76ers, who ironically, as of I think yesterday, if not Friday, clinched themselves outside of the playoffs this year too as well. Honestly, due to their injuries and all too as well. You would think a team with that much talent can still handle injuries in the Eastern Conference and all, but things are their things, at least and all too as well. So the other teams from 11 to 15 won't waste too much time on them. You got the Wizards there. Don't got much for the Wizards, at least and all. They got a lot of cool talent. There we go. AJ Johnson. I think I keep hearing about Alex Sarr, obviously, Bilal Coulibaly. You know what I mean? Bud Carrington. They got dope. I'm even a big fan of Kispert too as well. But I don't got much to say about them right now with a 16-win season at least. I do like the pickups of Middleton, Smart. At the trade deadline at least, but again, I don't got much for them. So Hornets, LaMelo Ball is done for the season. Brandon Miller, I think, has been done for the season and all too as well. I've already mentioned the Philadelphia 76ers. At 12, the Brooklyn Nets, fighting Brooklyn Nets and all too as well. I thought they'd be more worse off than where they were. There was a time that they could have made the play-in and all too as well. So, but obviously at the 12th seed, that's obviously not the same anymore. And at 11, a team that I like, but I think it's just been injuries. Honestly, if we're being real about the Toronto Raptors, honestly, haven't seen IQ, Emmanuel Quickly a lot. RJ Barrett saw a lot first half. Haven't seen a lot in the second half at least. Scotty Barnes has been in and out. They made a trade for Brandon Ingram, who still hasn't returned from that ankle injury and all too as well. And all maybe leads to them just tanking and all too as well, because he would help them win some games and all. And they'd probably be a 10-9 seed in my opinion, honestly, if he was playing from any type of stretch from when they picked him up in February on the trade when he picked them up in February during the trade deadline, at least and all. So, but they're an interesting team going forward and all. If there was all the 11, the 15 teams in the Eastern Conference, you can see on their roster that you can be excited about. I say Toronto. I only say that because the Brooklyn Nets, I feel like, need to add a little bit from the draft to be excited about. The Hornets you should be excited about, but it's the Hornets at least and all, because they got LaMelo Ball, they got Brandon Miller, Mark Williams, who the Lakers are interested in, but X the trade because of injury at least and all too as well, or supposedly at least too as well, but still. But still, it's just the Charlotte Hornets, so it's hard to really trust them and all too. The Wizards, like I mentioned, those names, those are dope, talented cats too as well, honestly. But I just don't, it's just more of the organization you don't trust and all too as well. And they're probably gonna have a top 3, if not top 5 draft pick, and also they're gonna add to that talent pool that they already have there and all. But the organization, you just don't trust the organization. So what can I say? Yeah. So those are the statuses of teams 11 to 15 and all too as well. I probably won't be mentioning too much going forward, at least and all, because things are priming up for the playoffs and all. And then the top 10 teams are the teams that kind of matter and all. In the Eastern Conference, though, I'd be fair. I've been a fighter that the Eastern Conference isn't as bad as the Western Conference. I've been a fighter of it, but this season I'm definitely losing that battle, at least and all, because the Western Conference from 1 to 11. 1 through 11, if not 1 through 12, is more captivating than anything going down after 3, honestly, if not 4, honestly, too, as well. There's not that much. There's not much captivation, if that's a word, in the Eastern Conference at least and all. But I'll go ahead and mention at least teams from 7 to 10 don't really give these teams any legitimate shot compared to the Western Conference, at least and all, from my point of view, at least and all, for the podcast to add some content, at least and all. But from the Hawks to the Magic to the Bulls to the Heat, it's hard to take any of them seriously, at least and all. The Bulls at least have a full, complete team, at least and all, because the Hawks are dealing with injuries. Jalen Johnson's out. Magic dealing with injuries. Jalen Suggs is out. The Heat, don't think they're dealing with too many injuries and all, but it's not a legit roster, at least and all, especially when you trade Jimmy Butler away and all too as well. I'll be real about a team that I do not like, at least and all, because rival of my favorite team, the Boston Celtics, at least and all, which we will get to and all too. But again, there's just not much there for each team, at least and all. The Bulls do have a full team, at least and all. They've had themselves a run, especially against the Lakers over the past couple of weeks, at least and all, especially the last game, the game previous to the last game, at least and all. But at least they got a full team. Giddey's played well. Kobe White's played well. Pat Williams has had himself a good year. Patrick Williams has had himself a decent year, at least and all, too, if you're really looking at it too, as well. Nikola Vucevic can obviously give you a threat and all, too, as well. They have an interesting roster, at least and all, too, as well. I'm a big fan of their young cat, Master Cezelius, too, as well, honestly. who was in the dunk contest this year at the All-Star game too as well. But I really like their roster and all. And again, you can say they're dealing with injuries too because Lonzo Ball's not playing too as well, honestly. But yeah, but out of these 7 to 10 seeds at least, it's hard to take any of them seriously moving forward in the playoffs after getting through the play-in and all too as well. If I had to surmise, I would think it's going to be the Magic and the Bulls going past the play-in at least and all too as well. So I'm giving a little big ups to the Bulls because they're playing well right now too as well. Could be a dangerous team in the play-in scenario going forward at least and all too as well. So, but that's from 7 to 10 at least. No, it's unfortunate, I mean, it's hard to get a little excited about these teams at least, going forward in the playoffs and all. Especially when I look at the Hawks and the Magic at least, the Magic were a top 3 seed when they were healthy at least and all. So when they dealt with injuries when Paolo got hurt and Franz Wagner got hurt, they were still able to keep their seeding and all. But I just started getting realized too that Jalen Suggs is the big part of their team and all. He's been hurt for, I think he's out for the rest of the season, if not definitely at the point right now. And from what I saw their record was 9-15 in the middle of February without him, and now we're in we're ending March right now. Look where they're sitting right now. I do give them credit that they could be worse off at least and all, but still they weren't able to continue the clip of staying at least a top 14 at least. And also that's why I say it's kind of unfortunate where they're sitting. The Hawks too. Jalen Johnson was a big part of their run earlier this year too as well. They made the what's it called there? They had their run in the NBA Cup, the little in-season tournament for the NBA at least, and all. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I think they made the semifinals, if not the game before the championship at least, and all too as well. So they looked good this year. They beat the Knicks on the road too for one of those games and all too as well. I was thoroughly impressed by them. Dyson Daniels is having himself a Defensive Player of the Year type of candidacy too as well with his steal numbers and all too as well. I think he's doing some. If he's not leading the, if he's not if he's not making history numbers with his steals overall this year, he's doing that on a stretch on basis with the steals and not having excuse me, but having 6 games plus with 6 steals or some stuff like that too as well. So he's been awesome. In my opinion, defensively all season at least and all too. So I had a big game against the Boston Celtics on the road at the Garden at least early this year where he stunted Jason Tatum a couple times and stole the ball from him and all too as well. So there've been cool things to talk about with the Hawks and Magic for sure in my opinion. Where you could have taken them more seriously and all, but I just think injuries have kind of derailed them and all too as well for at least being a more consistent team in the top half of the Eastern Conference and all too as well. So, but that's where the Eastern Conference stands from 7 to 15 so far in my opinion right now. Through my perspective and all that stuff too as well. But where we got the top 6 teams at least and all, I guess where we got. The Bucks at 6, the Pistons at 5, the Pacers at 4, Knicks at 3, the C's at 2, and the Cleveland Cavaliers at 1 at least and all too as well. Bucks unfortunately are dealing with a serious injury with Damian Lillard at the calf, and he's dealing with a clot in the calf injury at least and all too as well. I would have given them a strong chance of making some noise in the second round of the playoffs. It's going to be hard without your second best player out there, if not your second best offensive player out there too as well. They've been playing without Bobby Portis because he got suspended for some steroid use or taking the wrong thing, whatever. To me it's not a big deal honestly, but it's unfortunate that they lost him for 25 games at least, and also they've been dealing with that and all. If Lillard can find his way onto the court with his blood clot situation by the playoffs and all, I'll give him a strong chance to make some noise. I'm not even gonna lie honestly, but I just don't know. We got what's it called? We already have Wemby out for the rest of the season with a clot injury too as well. Honestly, kind of affected the Spurs season when we get to the bottom side of the Western Conference at least and all. But I'm just not too optimistic that he's gonna be able to come back with that. So that's why I think the Bucks, even though they're sitting as a top 16, definitely getting into the playoffs at least and all. I'm not so optimistic about their run going forward at least and all. Never been a fan. I'm not gonna sit here and say I was a fan of the Bucks at least and all too, but are a threat when you got Giannis and Damian Lillard on the basketball court. They're a threat at least and all. So it is unfortunate there's going to be no Damian Lillard for the foreseeable future for them at least and all too. The Pistons probably the hottest team in the Eastern Conference right now outside of the Boston Celtics maybe because they've tripled their win total from last year from 14 to 42 so far this year and all too as well. I feel like they're a team you probably don't want to face in the playoffs because new team, unexpected, don't know what they can do at least and all too as well. A whole bunch of pieces that just don't know about them, even though you individually you like them. Tobias Harris before this season maybe you didn't, but you like him now. Malik Beasley, you like him now. Tim Hardaway, you like him now. Cade Cunningham, obviously, I put him in my top 50 list at least. Also, I've been a big fan of him too as well. Honestly, Jalen Duren as their young big too as well. Honestly, Asir Thompson, the twin brother of Amin Thompson too as well. We got Houston Rocket fans saying that he's next at least now too as well. He's the twin brother and he's got similar skills and all too as well. I believe Amin Thompson's a little bit better at least not from what I've been told at least not, but from what I've seen, Asir Thompson isn't that far off when we talk about defense and playmaking at least not from the two at least not. So they got this as an interesting roster too, and they dealt with a major injury with Jaden Ivey being out for the rest of the season. I believe some sort of leg injury, could be a knee and ankle. I don't remember exactly at least not, but he had himself a serious injury and all. And you can say they probably played better since all that too as well, honestly. So sorry for the banging, at least not too as well. We got weird neighbors at least not sometimes, but what's it called there for the Pistons at least and all. Very excited what they can do going into the playoffs at least and all too as well. They have the element of surprise, the element of the unknown at least now, because it's going to be the first time the Pistons will be in the playoffs, I believe, in 10 years at least now too as well. So it should be very interesting. I'm very excited about what they can offer because Cade Cunningham can show to be the best player in a playoff series at least now too as well. When you look at the Pacers, if you look at a first round matchup against them and the Pacers, I would put him as the best player in that series if they were to get past that round and face the most likely the Cleveland Cavaliers in the next round. I think he's the best player in that series and all too as well. So it'd be interesting, even though Donovan Mitchell's right there. I think it's Donovan Mitchell right there because Cade Cunningham is more of a playmaker than Donovan. Even though I'll give Donovan Mitchell credit, shown more playmaking skills this year than he has in the past, at least. If not more consistent playmaking skills than he has in the past, because he's had his games in the past and all with assists and all too as well. He's just shown it more consistently this year and all. But still, that's how much I like the Pistons at least not going forward into the playoffs and all. And I think they can make some first round noise and all against the Indiana Pacers and all. Nothing against the Indiana Pacers. Very impressed about where they are because they were kind of sitting in the bottom end of the top 10 of the Eastern Conference and all, but they figured themselves out offensively. Tyrese Halliburton has figured himself out offensively too as well and all, and they've been on a roll lately too as well. I think they dropped 165 points on the Wizards in a regulation game, no overtime and all too as well, able to drop 165 points and also their offense is back. I think they're a scary team too going forward and all too as well going into the playoffs and all, because offensively they are efficient, they're hard to guard and all. They don't play defense. Defense is not their the strong suit, but still their offense is that good enough where it can carry them to the Eastern Conference Finals as it did last year and all too as well, even with their inability to defend at a high level at least and all too as well. We go to 3. We got the New York Knicks there too as well, pretty solidified there at number 3 and all. To me, they're a threat. They haven't been healthy all year and all. They're still able to have the 3rd seed with Jalen Brunson being out over the past 2 weeks or so. Mitchell Robinson missing the first 3 quarters of the season and all too as well. I'm impressed that they're able to have a 3 seed in the Eastern Conference and all. To keep the injuries low. When we talk about at least the Magic, at least know they were a top 3-4 seed team, and injuries kind of derailed them and all. Seems like the Knicks, guys like Towns, Anunoby, Bridges were able to step up, and Josh Hart were able to step up in instances where Jalen Brunson's been out over the past 2 weeks, like I mentioned, and all my bad. And where Mitchell Robinson was out for like 3 quarters of the season and all too as well. So I don't have too much on the Knicks. I like the Knicks at least all too as well. Facing my C's in the second round matchup where things are kind of laid out for that. I don't, which is kind of unfortunate for their season. At least not because I really think they've had themselves a good season and all. Matchups just won't work out. Facing my Celtics at least not too as well, where I can say are probably, if it ain't the Pistons that are the hottest team in the Eastern Conference, they're probably sitting there as the hottest team, if not the next hottest team at least not too as well. I'm just impressed how the Pistons are a 14-win team last season, a 42-win this year too as well, and there's no signs of them slowing down honestly. So that's why I put them in the run as one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference, even though the Boston Celtics have won 8 straight games. 9 games out of the last 10 at least and all, where you got the Pistons winning 6 out of the last 10 at least and all. So still just that impressed with the Pistons and all, but you have the C's though playing their best basketball of the season. You can't argue that honestly too as well. um, revving it up into the playoffs and all. What more can I say and all? So much with Luke Kornetz getting mad love in my group chats and in my social media and all too as well, and well deserved honestly too as well, because the rating numbers are kind of ridiculous with him and Tatum on the floor, at least, and all better than Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, apparently, and all too as well. But that's how well they've played and all. You got a guy like Peyton Pritchard is probably a cinch for the sixth man of the year too as well, honestly. Maybe your one concern is about Jaylen Brown. He's dealing with a knee injury. They got him on minutes restriction and all too as well. So as a Seas fan, you hope that kind of fixes itself out over the next 2 or 3 weeks at least, and all too as well. Some argue he shouldn't be playing. I understand why he's playing for the whole 65 games thing. Try to get the All NBA, kicker to your contract and all too as well. No one's going to say no to someone making money at least, no. But that is one of your concerns at least, not going to the playoffs as a Celtics fan. Can Jaylen Brown get himself together? He's shown you a game against Phoenix how dope he was and all too as well, but you do see some inconsistencies when you see him against the Kings, his first game back from injury, and then his in and outs against the San Antonio Spurs and all. Even though I'm a proponent, a big fan of my man at least and all, he does look bad at certain times dealing with that injury and all. So you do hope he kind of figures that out going forward at least and all too as well. Where he has to sit, manage it. Obviously they got him on minutes restriction as I mentioned, so I'm pretty sure. They'll take their time with it. They'll try to figure it out. But that's kind of like my only concern as a C's fan presently right now going into the playoffs and all. Can Jaylen Brown's knee, lower body get more healthier as we get into it? KP's looked good. Horford's looked awesome too as well when he's out there, especially over the last few games and all too as well. He's found his 3-point shot too as well and all. So like what I see from my C's honestly too as well. An incredible run to sit there at 55-19 and all, where they were sitting at 32-14 or something like that in the mid half of the season and all, where there were some questions about how they were playing and all. It seems like they've flipped that switch a bit and on their way to get into the playoffs and all. Yeah, I want to mention that away record, 31-7 and all, apparently on the verge of having a franchise record with the road record and all, and being like top 3 with road records and all too as well right there with the OKC Thunder and all too as well, which I got to give them credit for their impressive road record too as well this year. Their impressive record overall, honestly, and all. So, and then we get the Cleveland Cavaliers number 1 and all, by far the best team in the Eastern Conference throughout the season. They'll probably have the number 1 seed at the end of the season. From what do they call that? From the opening stretch of the season, at least and all, they've had the 1 seed and all. I believe maybe we had the 1 seed. No, I lied, because they started the season on the 15-game winning streak and all. So they basically had the 1 seed from opening tip of the season, and probably have it at the close of the season too as well. Honestly, got my questions about them defensively and all. They were more of a top 5 defensive team. In the beginning of the season, they've kind of fallen off a bit and all too as well. I will argue that they are 1 seed. We've seen 1 seeds over the past couple seasons taper off towards the third quarter, towards the last quarter of the season and all too as well. That's where they're sitting. I will bear them fruit and all too as well. The Seas struggled a little bit in all, back-to-back losses in Atlanta last year and all. They didn't even go to those games because I kind of had a feeling they weren't playing well going into it. Wasn't surprised how they played during it. And the Denver Nuggets kind of had to struggle in March when they won their championship run too as well. Honestly, now, I'm not saying that the Cavs are going to win the championship or anything like that as a Celtics fan, at least not. But I will argue that 1 seeds, as strong as they've been playing throughout the year, you can argue that they're taping it down a bit too as well. You want to manage going into the playoffs too as well. Honestly, it's not like they're sitting there close to overall win record and all too as well. So I'm pretty sure they're managing and all too as well. So that's probably why they taper off of them defensively and all. I still got my questions and all too as well about them defensively even prior to that, but still I will grant them, get the 1 seed for all time, for the all season at least. So there is some time to take your gas off the pedal a little bit, manage your body a little bit. Bodies, because of the other players at least, and going into the playoffs at least and all. You do want to manage and all. I'm asking for the same thing for the season, Jaylen Brown at least and all. I would expect the 1 seed that's had basically had the 1 seed all season to do the same thing and manage going into the playoffs at least and all. Because obviously, at a point, April 20, 21 games and all are more important than March 29, 30 games, So I do understand that fact, even though they haven't played well defensively over the past, month or so, maybe 3 weeks or so and all. But let's get to the Western Conference and all before we end this show today. From 11, oh yeah, like I said, it's a little bit more interesting from 1 to 11. Well, from 2 to 11 because 1 is closed. It's been closed, no different to how Cleveland is closed, the one seed in the Eastern Conference. But from let me look at the games real quick. Yeah, let's talk from 12 to 15 at least and all. 15 we got the Utah Jazz and all too as well. Tanking, not much to say there, honestly. Pelicans, injury riddle season at least and all. No one stayed healthy for them and all too as well throughout the season. There's not one person I can say stay healthy for them too. So unfortunately, like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are two big young favorites of my young players, upcoming players at least and all. Couldn't stay healthy at all this year too as well. I think would have been a big part of them having any type of success this year, either getting into the play-in, going deep in the playoffs, getting into the playoffs, whatever. I think they were huge for them, and they weren't able to stay healthy. And all Spurs, same thing. I think they would have been a very interesting team right now, battling for a top 10 seed right now. But Wemby got hurt. Wembley's dealing with a condition with the blood clots at least. No, Fox got hurt, I believe, with an ankle, or a finger. I'm just not too sure what. Yeah, actually, I think it was a thumb and all too as well that knocked him out for the rest of the year too as well. Tanking, maybe tanking what's it called, their habits you can say right there too as well. But I think injury kind of derailed their season too as well. Honestly, I feel like if Wemby was able to stay healthy, they'd be battling for a 10 seed right now with the Suns, the Kings, and the Mavericks right now. We'll get to those three teams and all. And then you got the Trailblazers and all. Very impressive season in my eyes at least and all. Started horribly at least and all. Could be sitting there like the Jazz with team wins at least and all. But they had themselves a run from end of January to like the end of February, maybe the beginning of March and all. Tapered off a bit now, as you can see, lost 4 straight games and all. But put themselves in a respectable place where they're going to get close to 40 wins at least. And I would have thought they were more of a 20 to 25 win team at least. So I'm very impressed on how they played in that mid half of that season at least. To put themselves in a position to get a cool draft pick at least. And you never know at least and all too as well. Make some noise next year and all. When you look at the Pistons and their difference last year and all, there is some hope for these teams at the bottom half of the standings at least and all too as well. So, but this is how the Western Conference is so cool in my opinion right now, where I can't even put the Eastern Conference that high and all. I broke the Eastern Conference from 11 to 15, then from 7 to 10. Then from 1 to 6. I can't do that in the Western Conference. It's kind of like 4 different things in one conference at least. And also from 9 to 11 intrigues me at least and all too as well. I would have thought the Mavericks were done and all, but they're playing Anthony Davis. They've won themselves 2 straight games. They've been in games too as well throughout their injury mess too as well. Talk about a team that's been injury riddled. Dallas Mavericks are sitting there pretty much injury riddled throughout the whole year and all, but they're in a good position to make the play-in as a 9 seed right now too, is why I do like their chances too to make the play-in with Anthony Davis playing at this point. Honestly, you would have thought they would have gave into the season, but I heard for one of their games they only had 7 players that dressed at least, and all there were times where they had to think about forfeiting at least, and all because it was they were on the borderline of not having enough players available to just even play at least too as well. So they've had to put Anthony Davis out there. You got a guy like Derek Lively who potentially could be back too as well, obviously for a playing game or two. Dallas Mavericks was a little scary all of a sudden going into the play-in and all. If you got Anthony Davis and Derek Lively there for the playing scenario, playoffs, we'll see how they look before I can give them an outlook for the playoffs at least. But again, kind of impressive that they're sitting there at the 9 seed right now. When you look at their season, the trade of Luka obviously too as well. It's been a whirlwind season for them, and you can still look at them as winning right now when you look at their injury riddle season, and they're in a good position to make the play-in and not even in the back end and all compared to the Phoenix Suns. I'll just skip to 11 with the Phoenix Suns and all, who've been basically healthy and all, maybe without Bradley Beal and all, but you can argue that they're better without Bradley Beal than with Bradley Beal and all, but they still just can't climb over the top and all of the play-in and all. They're sitting outside of it. I think they're a game behind the Kings right now. Another team that hasn't played well as of late. Not too surprising. Surprised they kept the 9 seed for that long because they just didn't think they would be able to play defense. At least in all, they'll be able to score with the players that they have at least. When we add Levine and DeRozan and Malik Monk, they'll be able to score. Keegan Murray, they'll be able to score. But playing defense is another story at least in all too. So that's why I look at these 3 teams at least now. I do expect the Suns in their lucky fashion to make the play-in because I don't think the Kings will be able to keep up. I just never believed in the Kings and all with their moves and all. Impressed they were able to keep that 9 seed for a while, but they're beginning to fade at least and all too as well. 3-7 their last few games too as well. As bad as Phoenix has played, they haven't played that bad. I just kind of think that's going to continue for the Kings. And when you just can't stop anybody, it's going to be hard to beat some teams, honestly. And they're probably going to be facing some teams that are in a playoff scenario above them or right with them when we talk about the Mavs and Suns and all. I'm really going to have a hard time thinking that they're without any type of defense, they're going to make some noise to even make the play, and mind you, even get past the play into the playoffs at least. And also, that's why out of these three teams, I would say the Mavericks and the Suns are going to be the teams that make the play in at least and all. But injuries, as I've seen with the Mavs, at least and all, can happen and derail things at least and all. But based off health, at least and all, those are the two teams out of the three I would have making this 9-10 scenario at least and all. It's its own little division in my opinion. And all. The next set of its own division, in my opinion, is 6 through 8. We got the Warriors, the T-Wolves, and the Clippers, and all. All teams I think are playing well. I think all teams are kind of positioning themselves in the for a playing game or positioning themselves to get the 6th seed at least, and all too as well. And I think all these three teams I feel like are the beginning of the dangerous teams in the Western Conference that can make a run to the conference finals at least, and all too as well. They say you want to avoid OKC. I say I wouldn't be scared of them, at least not two as well. You should fear them because they have a full roster, but are you playing 12, 11, 10 guys in the playoffs? I argue no. You're playing more 7 to 9 guys in the playoffs now. With the OKC Thunder, maybe in the first round they can get away with it, but I feel like these three teams are deep enough where you can't be playing a 10-man rotation and having fun with it. You have to have an 8. To me, I'm not saying you have to do anything. If Mark Dagnall wants to be unorthodox in the playoffs this year, I'm so down to hear it because the Warriors did it too, and they became a dynasty and all too as well. I don't want to knock their large rotation thinking that they can't do anything with it. Them being unorthodox this year may work out with their roster at least all too as well. I will go into the playoffs and question that at least and all too as well, and I think he's going to need to cut that rotation 7 to 9 to even win a first round series. And I think the Warriors, the T-Wolves, and the Clippers have a solid roster, 8 deep, where they're going to stick to their 8 to 9 man deep roster and all too as well. Where I don't think Mark Dagnall will have the ability to transform or to metamorphosize his team and all through his deep rotation and all. So that's why I say these beginning of these teams to me are dangerous and all. We'll talk about Houston too as well, honestly, and all too as well as a 2 seed and all too as well. Where I'm not saying you can easily beat them, but there is a way to beat them at least. No, they don't look like when we look at the 2 seeds clear in the Eastern Conference and all. And again, credit to the 7 and 10s not being all that strong and all too as well. I'll give you that too, but still, I think they're by far winning the first round. Gentleman sweep. There's going to be no question about Cleveland, Boston getting through the first round. I just think it wouldn't surprise me if OKC and Houston, and I'll get to them and all too as well because they've had great seasons. I don't want to knock them, but I'm more knocking them to benefit the 6 to 8 teams, the 6 to 7 to 8 seeded teams at least. No, but again, I just feel like when we see OKC and Houston in a playoff series, there's more of a chance of those series at least going 7 than the 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference at least not going 7 at least no. I'm not saying now. I think if we're picking those 2 Western Conference teams at least no, I do agree. I would avoid OKC because that's the team that's more of a chance to sweep you at least no, because they've been in the playoffs over the past couple seasons and did it last year. Where Houston, we haven't seen this iteration do anything in the playoffs. They haven't showed that much level of dominance throughout the regular season where you think they're going to sweep in the first round at least, not too as well. And to even though I credit OKC for what they did last year, the Pelicans that they beat in the sweep were injury riddled and all too as well. I don't think they've even faced a real first round team and all, which I think may lead them to be a bit flawed going into the playoffs and all, especially against these 3, 6 to 7, 8 seeded teams and all. We talk about the Warriors, the T-Wolves, and the Clippers. They got experience in the playoffs and all. We talk about the Warriors. We already, Green, Curry, Butler, experience in the playoffs. The T-Wolves, no different from the Thunder and what they did last year and all, at least not going to the conference finals and building some type of momentum in the experience realm of the playoffs at least and all. And then the Clippers, we all know about Kawhi. Norman Powell showed out. He's a champion with the Raptors. James Harden questionable, but he's been in the playoffs at least not too as well. I don't want to give him too much credit, but still, he's been in the playoffs almost every. I think he's been in the career. Yeah, he's been in the playoffs every year of his career. When we talk about James Harden, at least not too as well. Yeah, I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs in his career, and also that's why I say that these three teams, at least from 6, 7, and 8, are kind of set up to make noise against the two seed against the in the first round against Houston or OKC at least. So that's why I kind of see these three teams as intriguing and all too as well. They've all been playing well since the trade deadline. They've had their stretches of playing well, as you can see. They've look at them. All three of them are 7-3 over the last 10 games and all. The Clippers just lost a pretty close game against the Cavaliers on the road without Kawhi Leonard and all too as well. Lost by 5. I don't think it was that close of a game at least, no, but still, I don't think they were down more than 10 of most of the game at least. You had Kawhi in that, his defense and his offense at least. You have yourself an even game throughout that game at least too. So I just think the Clippers, the T-Wolves, and the Warriors are playing well right now. These are teams where if they stayed healthy throughout the year, you can argue our top 3 seeded teams based on T-Wolves last year, based on the Warriors earlier this season, and based on the Clippers and their history, at least on the regular season throughout the Kawhi years at least. You wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams would have been a top 4 team this year, top 4 seeded team in the West this year too. So just based off past precedents at least too as well. So I find them all dangerous at least If I had to pick a team to get the 6th seed, I think it's going to be the Warriors. I think it's the Warriors. I kind of was leaning towards the Clippers anyway. Just last week at least, so that's how much it changes at least. It's a difference of a half game between a difference between a game between 3 teams at least and all. So it's going to be ever changing at least. If I had to guess, I'm going to go with the Warriors and all. I just think if let me say this, I don't think the T-Wolves will get the 6th seed at least. I think they're set up to be a play-in team, and I think they may have to play 2 games at least too as well. So that's why if I say if whoever gets the 6th seed, I think it's going to be either the Warriors or Clippers, because I've liked the way they've played in the bigger games at least and all. But still, they've had their moments too as well, honestly. I will argue the Warriors didn't have Curry for a while, so they had a couple bad losses and all. And the Clippers don't have Kawhi from time to time, so that's why they have their bad losses and all. So, but all these teams, at least from 6 to 8, 6, 7, and 8, I think they're all dangerous at least and all. Matchups are just going to be very interesting and all too as well. If I had to say teams that these teams should avoid, I don't think the Clippers need to avoid anybody. They just need to be healthy and all. T-Wolves too, I don't think they're a team that needs to avoid anyone. They just need to stay healthy and all. They've had great matchups against the Rockets and the Nuggets this year and all too. So I think the Rockets have the upper hand against them, while they have the upper hand over the Nuggets and all. But I think they've been close games at least and all too as well. So I think those will be battles at least and all. I think the T-Wolves have a slight edge in both of those at least and all. And the Warriors, I think the Warriors are a team that need to avoid the Nuggets and the Rockets at least and all too as well. And where they're seeded and all, they're going to be seeing them and all. So that's the team I'm kind of worried about. If I were the Warriors, I want to face the Thunder at least and all. But based on their season this year too as well, do you really want to see the Thunder too as well? That is a huge chance and all. You're chancing their experience and thinking you can get past it and all, and ignoring the basketball stuff too as well. Honestly, I do think the experience is a component, but you are ignoring a lot of basketball too as well. If you're looking for the Thunder at least, if you happen to face them, it's a different story. But you don't want to look for somebody and all when they've been the biggest bully in the room and all. It could lead you to getting beat up too as well. So you may want to slide into it and all from what I'm saying and all. But that's the next phase of the Western Conference in my opinion. I just broke it down 3 ways. I can break the last way one way, at least from 1 to 5 and all. Or at least from 2 to 5, because 1 is clear. I've mentioned OKC already and all. They're clearly the 1 seed. That's no battle there. They got it by 14 games. It ain't the same, you know what I mean? It's like Boston in the Eastern Conference last year and all too as well. So we'll go from 2 to 5 at least and all. I do think most of these positions are kind of solidified at this point. I feel like Memphis, with their coaching change and all too as well, the way they've been resting Morant and Jaren Jackson throughout the season and all, I feel like they're kind of playing it back and all, so that's why I think they're a 5 seed. Don't be surprised if they fall out a little bit more and the Warriors and the T-Wolves and the Clippers actually get up, honestly. I didn't see it before, but if you fire your coach, 8 games left in the regular season going into the playoffs and all, and you're playing your best 2 players not over 30 minutes a game and all, I am worried about where you're going to be seated by the end of the season and all too as well, where you got other teams priming up, especially in the Western Conference, to get themselves in positions to play well and for seeding and all too as well. So I thought the Grizzlies could hold the 5 seed. It wouldn't surprise me if they fall to a play-in scenario too as well, and the Clippers, T-Wolves, and the Warriors rise a bit because of their fall and all too as well. Because of I wouldn't have said that until Taylor Jenkins got fired this past week. I think this past Friday and all. I don't like that type of move, honestly. I do understand the questions that Jenkins had throughout the year and all with his what's it called there, with his rotations and things like that. Like I said, John Moran and Jaren Jackson are barely playing 30 minutes a game and all. When they're superstars in the league, and superstars generally play 35 to 40 minutes from game to game, depending on situation and all. And they're not even averaging 30. They're at the 29 mark purposely and all. So that is, I feel like it's a back and forth with scheme in that organization and all that could be their detriment going into the playoffs and all too as well. They may not even care about the playoffs if you're firing your coach 8 games left into the season, 8 to 9 games left into the season and all too as well. So that is a late thing that happened to the Memphis Grizzlies and also it wouldn't surprise me if they fall out a little bit and they end up being the play-in team and all too as well. But for the other teams, at least and all, let me say that I think their spots are solidified. Let me go there now. I think the Lakers are pretty much solidified at number 4 and all too as well. They've been managing injuries and all too as well. They've had a stretch of 10 games in 15 days and all too as well. So I do think they're managing more than chasing a seeding at least and all. So I could see them just sitting there at 4. Denver is a game and a half behind the Rockets for the number 2 seed, so that's why I think they hold off the 3 seed because the Rockets, outside of probably OKC, are probably the hottest team in the Western Conference right now too as well. As you can see, they've won 9 of their last 10 games at least, and all 1-2 in a row and all. They've been hot. They were a 5 seed for a while, and they've jumped themselves up to the 2 seed. They've shown this enough throughout the year and all, in my opinion, where they're going to hold that 2 seed and all too as well, and be a shocking 2 seed in the Western Conference and all too as well, where questions of their experience and can they do this in the playoffs and all. There is a thing of they got a closer or a number 1 scorer on their team and all too as well. So there are some questions, like I said, about Houston and all, which makes them an intriguing first round matchup for those teams in the bottom end of the Western Conference and all teams, again, like I said, have some type of playoff experience versus the Houston Rockets that have none. It makes it interesting, at least not for me and all. And the OKC Thunder, again, a curious 1 seed at least and all. Again, the lack of playoff experience and all is a factor in the playoffs and all. So that's why I think it could be an interesting team maybe that you can face in the first round and all. It's not as clear as I said before with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round and all. The level of competition is a huge part of it and all too as well. Obviously, when we look at the Warriors, the T-Wolves, and the Clippers, if healthy, are top 5, top 4 type teams in the Western Conference, in my opinion, and all too as well. Especially with the Warriors adding Butler. I wouldn't have said that about the Warriors before Butler, but definitely can say that about Butler with Butler if they're healthy, at least and all, because we see without Curry how different their team is and all without Steph Curry and all too as well. So, but yeah, I do think the Rockets hold their 2 seed and all. And again, you got the OKC Thunder, who you can argue are the best team in basketball this year and all. I call Shea Delicious at least and all for the dressing and the foul baiting and all that stuff too as well, honestly, just for this season and all, because I am a fan of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and all for this season. The man is Delicious and all, but he's got himself his MVP at least and all. I think he's, I think he has like 60 or no, let me say it, 60. I think he's got like 60 plus games in a row of scoring 20 points or more in a game at least and all too as well. So I think he's by far your MVP candidate, and all the Nuggets have rested Jokic over the past couple weeks too as well, because they've been managing him as well going into the playoffs and all too as well. So, but that's the landscape of the NBA so far and all too as well. I will be here weekly and all, so we'll see how things change up and all. Like I said, I think the Eastern Conference is pretty much, it is what it is, at least in all. The Western Conference, as I divvied it down, is kind of interchanging as we go on, at least in all. I would have thought the top 5 would have stayed and all, but Taylor Jenkins getting fired does have me questioning the Memphis Grizzlies if they can hold that 5 seed at this point and all too as well. And we got the Mavericks coming up all of a sudden too as well, with AD playing and all. Could be an interesting playing team and all too as well. So a lot of interesting storylines in the Western Conference at least and all too as well. So very excited going forward be talking a lot of NBA going forward, at least and all. Like I said, with the prior topic and all, we got the Final Four and also probably have one more moment with the Final Four before we really move on fully into the NBA from April, May, and June on. Honestly, hoping that's an all green summer like last summer and all too as well. But I will have to admit the Seas were by far the best team in the league last year and all too as well. It's not like that this year and all. I will argue not having the same five play as much as they did last year is a big part of it, but still got the Cleveland Cavaliers doing some net rating numbers that I made a big deal about last year and all. They're kind of right there too as well. So is the OKC Thunder and all, and even when I'm saying that the Boston Celtics are still all time right there with net ratings and differential and all right there with the Thunder and the Cavaliers and all. So if we're being real, those are probably your three likely champions this year and all too as well, unless someone wants to step up and have themselves a hot run like the Dallas Mavericks did last year too as well, or i.e. the Miami Heat the year before honestly too as well. Injuries were a big reason why too as well, no different from the Boston Celtics run and all too as well, but still though those three teams, when we talk about Cleveland, the Thunder, and the Celtics, those seem to be your champions of the NBA season this year and all too as well. And we'll see who can outlast, getting past their playoff runs, outlast whoever they got to face and all. As you can see, it looks like Boston and Cleveland are headed for a collision course for the Eastern Conference Finals and all too as well. And even though the Thunder are by far the best team in the Western Conference, their lack of experience in the playoffs will give another team or two a chance to maybe get past them and make the finals and all too as well. So it brings us something more interesting into April at least and all, and I'm very excited for it. So we'll end it there at least and all. I'm in at 5 at least and all. Of course, can't help myself go long at least and all, but I do appreciate you guys listening. Please stay tuned for the shop and all too as well. Here's the pin again, just to see it in real time at least and all, the difference from the stills that I have on my social media and on the shop right now until we start getting some photo shoots ready and stuff like that. So let me get it going at least and all. I appreciate you guys listening. We'll talk soon.